Καλησπέρα σας κυρίες και κύριοι. Αμέσως τώρα αρχίζει η εκπομπή Ευρώπη Τώρα στο Thrakinet και σε συνεργασία με το Europal TV. Μαζί θα δούμε τι συνέβη τις προηγούμενες ημέρες στο Ευρωπαϊκό Κοινοβούλιο. Ας ξεκινήσουμε με το πρώτο μας θέμα. Απειλείται η ελεύθερη μετακίνηση πολιτών στην Ευρώπη τώρα που επανήλθαν οι συνοριακοί έλεγχοι μεταξύ των χωρών της ζώνης Σέγγεν. Η Ευρωπαϊκή Επιτροπή ενημερώνει τους ευρωβουλευτές ότι υπάρχουν περιθώρια εξαιρέσεων.
The Schengen Agreement removing border controls across most of the EU is a sacred pillar. It's under intense scrutiny now after Germany reimposed temporary controls to manage refugee flows, followed by Austria and Slovenia.
Schengen needs to be at the heart of the EU and we need to protect it.
He was speaking after a briefing from the European Commission on what exactly the trio's reimposition of controls means.
You can have it for G8 events, you can have it for migratory flows which are not controlled and which pose some public order issues. So this is in line with the Schengen Border Code. It has to be proportionate.
For some MEPs, the controls don't go nearly far enough.
Schengen ist tot. Das heißt, die Reisefreiheit, die wir jetzt noch im Moment praktizieren, die funktioniert nicht mehr, die kann nicht mehr funktionieren.
For others, it simply has to function.
The world is on fire in our neighborhood. People are coming to us in order to save their lives and the lives of their children.
The Commission says Germany, Austria and Slovenia have sought an extension of border controls until roughly the middle of October.
Ο Φρανσουά Ολάντ και η Άγγελα Μέρκελ ελπίζουν να σταθεροποιήσουν μια Ευρώπη που κλειδονίζεται από κρίσεις του μεταναστευτικού και της Ευρωζώνης στον απόϊχο του σκανδάλου της Volkswagen. Οι ευρωβουλευτές θα δώσουν τις αντιδράσεις τους.
A VIP packed session in Strasbourg when MEPs will hear from Angela Merkel and François Hollande, the King of Spain, and EU's High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security, Federica Mogherini. They'll also vote on payment services, air pollutants, debate the outcome of the recent EU summit on refugees, and of course the Volkswagen Gate. Welcome to the agenda. History in the making when Angela Merkel and François Hollande addressed the parliament side by side on Wednesday. Between the refugee crisis, the decline of the Eurozone, Greece, Ukraine, and the possibility of British exit from the EU, there's no shortage of hot topics. The last time a German Chancellor and French President delivered a speech together was in 1989, right after the fall of the Berlin Wall. 26 years later, the Union faces the prospect of new walls being erected to hold back migrants. The same day, Felipe VI, King of Spain, will address Parliament for the first time since he became monarch last year. Then it's the turn of Federica Mogherini to address MEPs on Syria and Libya. Almost 5 years after the Arab Spring, the conflicts in Libya and Syria worsen day by day. Tens of thousands are fleeing, most headed for Europe. The agreement made by member states in September on how to relocate 120,000 refugees, mainly from Syria, will be the focus of a debate on Tuesday. EU leaders also agreed to €1 billion support package for UN agencies dealing with the refugees in Lebanon, Jordan and Turkey. We all know PayPal, but trustly also Ford. Like their US counterpart, they are online payment services, but European. For the past 10 years, online retail payment services have increased hugely in the EU, but there's no specific legislation for them. MEPs will correct that with a vote on Thursday on a legal framework regulating security standards, customer data protection, cost reduction, and allowing room for Europe-based services to grow. Air pollution has been on Europe's agenda since the late 70s. On Wednesday, MEPs will vote to limit the amount of harmful products, such as fine particles, released by medium-sized combustion plants. There are 150,000 of these in the EU, burning fuel for heat, power, or steel production. It hit the automobile world like a hurricane. News of German carmaker Volkswagen's global emissions fixing scam. On Tuesday, MEPs will debate on emission measurements in the car sector. Their main question being, how will the Commission move forward? Stay tuned for an exciting session. Enjoy your week.
Σοκαρισμένοι από την αποκάλυψη του σκανδάλου Dieselgate της Volkswagen στις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες Αμερικής, οι ευρωβουλευτές θέλουν να μάθουν πώς θα χειριστεί το ζήτημα η Επιτροπή στην Ευρώπη.
This VW scandal is not just about money, it is also about health as well. And cheating the standards brings a massive and fundamental breach of trust.
What happened is completely unacceptable. We expect full investigation and full accountability of those who are responsible.
We must start by establishing the facts. You ask me how the Commission will investigate any potential wrongdoing. The Commission does not have the power to carry our own investigation in the automotive sector. We rely on the authorities of the Member States. These institutions are professional. Let's not jeopardize what we have built together so far.
Ohne eine Veränderung der Mobilität werden wir den Klimawandel nicht stoppen. Wir müssen ihn aber stoppen, damit unsere Kinder und deren Kinder eine Perspektive haben, auf diesem Planeten zu leben.
Προσφυγικό ζήτημα. Οι ευρωβουλευτές κάνουν έκκληση για λιγότερα λόγια και περισσότερες πράξεις. Μάλιστα, υπογραμμίζουν την ευθύνη της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης στο να παρέχει βοήθεια στις χώρες εισόδου.
Is the EU playing into the hands of people smugglers? By accepting to relocate 160,000 asylum seekers who entered the EU illegally, some MEPs are now afraid that the institutions are sending the wrong message.
Selbstverständlich. Also indem wir die Grenzen offen haben, werden immer mehr Menschen animiert, überhaupt diese gefährliche Reise übers Mittelmeer anzutreten, als wenn wir andere Wege schaffen würden.
By not providing any legal and safe entries for refugees, we're actually supporting the smugglers, the only ones who are benefiting from all the fences, from all the walls at the outer borders. The only people who profit from it are the smugglers, because refugees have no other way to get into Europe to ask for asylum apart from trusting those smugglers.
The EU allocated €1 billion to UN agencies running camps in non-EU countries. Although not all member states were in favor of harboring people fleeing from war in Syria and Iraq, it seems everyone agrees that reinforcing EU's external borders is of the utmost importance.
Die Außengrenzensicherung, dass Europa an der Grenze kontrolliert, wer auf diesen Kontinent kommt und wer eben auch abgewiesen wird, muss durchgeführt werden, auch mit technischen Maßnahmen.
Filo spinato, muri, egoismi, odio, tutto ciò è simbologia della incapacità di risolvere i problemi. I problemi si risolvono in modo positivo.
More support is being planned for Greece in the upcoming weeks to help ongoing operations on the ground.
Πώς μπορούν οι Ευρωπαίοι να ανακτήσουν την εμπιστοσύνη τους στο σύστημα των εκπομπών όταν η πασίγνωστη εταιρεία Volkswagen παρέκαμψε παράνομα το σύστημα?
The full House of MEPs got their first opportunity to debate and dissect the Volkswagen emissions fixing scandal. Many demanded full disclosure from the German car maker and a quicker introduction of new European tests compatible with real road conditions. Among those MEPs, Giovanni La Via, chair of Parliament's Environment Committee, and fellow Environment Committee member Julie Girling. A first question, how to fix European emissions testing whose credibility is clearly broken, and design credible RDE tests, or real driving emissions tests.
Volkswagen have not revealed what is the real issue, and we need more information from Volkswagen. But on the other side, have to be clear that we need in the future more clean car, and then we need to change the system at the European level. We need to reinforce control. We need to have an European authority able to follow 28 different member states.
There has to be a complete revision of the RDE so that we have a real on-road, real-world testing situation. And then we have to mix that up with a bit of on-road surveillance. And we also need, I think, to bring in a random surveillance test, not perhaps at the level that they do in the States, where it's very, very far-reaching. I think something across the member states, an agreement with member state governments that they would institute some random surveillance testing, I think is going to be essential.
Is it time to move from government emissions regulatory authorities to independent ones?
Probably it is true. We have to rethink the system. We have to control more the car producer because we want the production in line with our regulation.
In effect, the national regulatory authorities are independent in the sense that they work for governments. So I don't think that's fundamentally a problem, so long as the tests are right. I think you can read a lot into this about that. There are issues about the influence of the motor industry. The influence, I think, at the fundamental core level of legislation, their influence here in Brussels is quite strong, and I think we need to ask questions about that. But I think in terms of having completely independent testing agency for Europe, that would be a massive bureaucracy. It would be very expensive, and I think it might not be necessary.
How serious are the effects of this, with people inhaling more diesel-generated toxins on public health?
It's absolutely clear that the air quality in Europe is not good enough. In fact, it's been deteriorating, and that now that we can measure it as precisely as we can, it's very obvious that we need to do something very radical about it. So if we don't get on with the transport side of that, and we don't get on with the emissions side, then it's very hard for us to deal with other things.
The result of this fraud it is that in many countries, in many European citizens, we have a higher level of pollution than the one that was admitted. And this is not responsibility, probably in some case, of the measure of a town, of local traffic, but also it is responsibility of the European car producer.
What is the potential economic impact?
In this case, we are going to discuss about the reduction of growth in one car producer. It is clear that some clients or potential clients have to check if the car that they want to buy it is in line with the international standards.
We know that the European automotive industry has not been making any profit over the last couple of years. We know that we have overproduction. So there are issues in the automotive industry already. Add this on top, we could have a very severe problem, and some economists are talking about the possibility of this actually driving into some parts of Europe into recession. That would be a tragedy, and I think that's where we, the Parliament, the Commission and the industry together need to bang our heads together, get on with this, sort it out and make sure that doesn't happen, restore consumer confidence ASAP and make sure that that driver of our economy keeps going.
Ζητούμενο για τα κράτη-μέλη της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης είναι να υπάρξει ένα κοινό μέτωπο ενάντια στον καταστροφικό εθνικισμό. Ολάντ και Μέρκελ τάσσονται ενάντια στις πρόχειρες λύσεις σε εθνικό επίπεδο.
An historic moment in the life of the European Parliament. The leaders of two countries, seen as the key axis in Europe, side by side, speaking one after the other.
Nous devons répondre à l'urgence et garder le cap sur le long terme. Celui d'une fédération d'États-nations qui doit rester notre horizon. Et d'une certaine façon, 25 ans après, c'est à une autre unification qu'il faut procéder. Si nous n'allons pas plus loin, nous nous arrêterons, mais nous reculerons. Et ça sera la fin du projet européen.
Wir dürfen in der Flüchtlingskrise nicht der Versuchung erliegen, in nationalstaatliches Handeln zurückzufallen. Gerade jetzt brauchen wir mehr Europa. Wir brauchen mehr denn je den Mut und den Zusammenhalt, den Europa immer gerade dann bewiesen hat, wenn es darauf ankommt.
A lot was expected from Angela Merkel and François Hollande, but unlike their predecessors, Helmut Kohl and François Mitterrand 26 years ago, for many MEPs, they failed to convince they can make the EU model still relevant today.
Il modello intergovernativo è superato.
The EU, of course, evolved, but my feeling is that its leadership has not.
Für viele repräsentieren Sie in Ihrer Funktion das alte Europa, das versagt hat.
Although crises are indeed piling up, member states have shown in the past months and years that it's not always easy to reach decisions when there are 28 voices at the negotiating table.
Wenn Sie Vertrauen schaffen wollen innerhalb der Europäischen Union in ihre Handlungsfähigkeit, dann müssen Sie noch mal zurückkommen zu dem, was liegen geblieben ist, was die Stabilität der gemeinsamen Währung angeht.
Die Welt wartet nicht auf unsere internen Debatten. Deswegen muss Europa engagiert vorangehen.
It's a lack of common governance. It's a lack of shared sovereignty. It's a lack of unity in Europe. What is the cause of this crisis?
For some MEPs, the two heads of states need to really understand the views of EU citizens.
Vous venez tous deux ici en séance de rattrapage, car votre Union européenne est en train de s'effondrer.
I hope and pray that Britain voting to leave the European Union will be the beginning of the end of a project, however noble its original intentions, has gone rotten.
So, for many, out with the old and in with the new. Not all MEPs put it that way, and not all in front of Angela Merkel and François Hollande. But the Assembly made it clear that they are expecting member states to work better, faster and more concretely to ensure the EU is a 21st century global player.
Στα παρασκήνια μιας ημέρας με υψηλά ιστάμενα πρόσωπα, με τους ηγέτες της Γαλλίας και της Γερμανίας να βρίσκονται στο κτίριο με τον βασιλιά της Ισπανίας, οι προετοιμασίες στο Ευρωπαϊκό Κοινοβούλιο είναι πυρετώδεις.
A day like few others in the life of the European Parliament, kicking off at its seat in Strasbourg with a visit by the King of Spain, Felipe VI. Plenty of press, plenty of protocol, plenty of security personnel. Backstage, scenes of regimented efficiency as chefs work hard to meet the surge in demand for VIP dining.
C'est une gestion un peu différente, mais bon, on n'a pas plus de stress qu'une journée normale, disons.
What then might the king expect to be served?
Un petit carpaccio de magret de canard avec une petite salade d'herbes fraîches et des petites noisettes torréfiées. Après, on a un filet de sole sur risotto fondant et en dessert, il a un fondant de chocolat.
Norbert Klose is head of catering services, orchestrating everything in kitchens that are spread far apart in Parliament's sprawling architecture.
Il y a souvent des changements de dernière minute. Ça, c'est difficile à gérer. Et il y a des timings qui sont imposés, qui sont très serrés. On va se féliciter demain peut-être, hein, si tout a bien été. On est très optimiste.
Front stage, the key focus of throngs of journalists is also the speeches to Parliament by Angela Merkel and François Hollande, one after the other. The first such joint event by a German and French leader since 1989.
It's a landmark visit because it's so rare that two presidents or heads of government appear in the chamber at once. And of course everybody expects something from the German-French tandem locomotive.
C'est un jour particulier pour les journalistes espagnols parce que pas tous les jours les rois de l'Espagne et dans une institution comme le Parlement européen.
A day in the life of the European Parliament. For sure, it's not every day, but it's one savoured by many inside and outside the kitchen.
Στο σημείο αυτό θα κάνουμε ένα σύντομο διαφημιστικό διάλειμμα και σε λίγα λεπτά επιστρέφουμε με το δεύτερο μέρος της εκπομπής μας.